This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Gene Rossi. And Gene, thank you very much for coming.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. And
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your background and why are you running for the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia? What do you bring to the table?
That's a very good question. I am married to my wife, Diane, of 31 years.
Good.
We live in the city of Alexandria. We have 3 great kids. All of them attended T.C. Williams High School and City of Alexandria Public Schools. For 27 years, I was a federal prosecutor. I was mostly an assistant United States attorney.
For the state of Virginia?
In Virginia.
Okay.
And before that, I worked for a governor for about 6 years. I was a Washington representative. And then
Which governor?
Governor Bill O'Neill of Connecticut.
Yeah.
And when I was very young, I was raised by a single mom. My father passed away when I was 10. And I had 3 older brothers, and we helped run a family lumber business in Connecticut before I went on to college and law school. So why do I want to be lieutenant governor? Because I have a passion for protecting people, and I want to fight for those who cannot speak for themselves. And that fight and that passion came from the 27 years where I stood up in federal court and I said, Gene Rossi for the United States. And I gave voice to those who could not speak, victims alive and dead, the ignored and forgotten. And I want to take that passion as a prosecutor, my experience working for a governor, my personal experience being raised by a single mom and working in a family business. I want to make the lieutenant governor position a bully pulpit to talk about many issues that I hope we can talk about.
Okay, so let's see. Here's a man who has been prosecutor, who was raised by a single mother. He comes from a small business family, so he understands the small business and he understands being an entrepreneur, correct? You understand
Yes.
the challenges that the entrepreneurship face and so on and so forth. So those are the good qualities of being a lieutenant governor. And my question to you, what are the issues that the Commonwealth of Virginia is facing and how you're going to be the problem solver?
There are 3 big issues for me. One is health care, the other is public education, and other is criminal justice reform.
Okay, and what about job and economy?
And small business and jobs, but those are the 3 big issues in addition to jobs and economy and the environment.
Environment. Okay,
Yes.
so what exactly do you intend to do for all these things?
All right.
And considering the fact that you have a president, as you all know, who's against all of these things you just talked about it.
I realize that. And he's on every day and he tweets every day. But let's talk about health care. I believe that the Affordable Care Act is the shining achievement of President Barack Obama.
So we can repair it, but we do not want to repeal it and get a new alternate and give a new one. Is that what you're saying?
Partly.
Okay.
Yes.
And
yes.
we can repair it, we can reform it, we can make it better,
It
make
can
it cost effective.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
what do you
sir.
think of the Republican Party is working on trying to repeal? They've been talking about 7 years.
I am going to oppose that with every
Okay.
ounce of blood in my body, and let me tell you why. This issue is very personal to me. In 2009, my daughter Lee, who was then 18, almost died from a lymphoma. She was cured. When I was 2013, I was told by a doctor that I had a 50-50 chance to live at best because of a rare blood disease. I was treated with a high-dose treatment and a stem cell, and I was cured myself. I do want to say this. The Republicans and the Democrats in each party are always looking for a candidate with new blood. I submit to you that I have the newest blood of any candidate in American political history. Why is the Affordable Care Act important to me? My daughter now turned 26 March 5th. She has a pre-existing condition and she has to leave my Blue Cross program. So I will fight and oppose any changes to the Affordable Care Act that replace those basic tenets of the Affordable Care Act. I want to add another thing that I will be doing. There are 400,000 individuals, working individuals, Virginians, who do not have health insurance. They are not covered by Medicaid. And what happened this week is that the legislature, again, refused to accept $10.4 billion that's available under the Affordable Care Act.
Legislated, Virginia legislated?
Yes, they voted yesterday. Governor McAuliffe had an amendment.
So he probably vetoed it.
No, Governor McAuliffe had an amendment, and
Yeah.
the legislature voted it down. It was to expand Medicaid.
Which is the right thing to do.
It is the wrong thing to do.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. It's the right thing to do to expand Medicaid.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, I misheard you.
Yeah.
It is the right thing
Thing to
to
do,
expand
do
it
it.
for the
Yeah.
400,000.
I
and
agree.
as I said, it's personal to me.
So you will fight.
Fight,
That's what you're going to do.
like I was as a prosecutor,
Exactly. So that's number
with
one.
with passion, because I have a passion for protecting people.
You have a personal story to tell, and this is
I do.
And you have a story to tell. You also have, passion and committed to make sure that everybody has affordable health care, so they can live better in this country. They have. This is a human right. This is a civil right, and this is the rights of every individual to have affordable health care.
I agree.
I do not know why the other side of the aisle is so much against it, and they have been talking about it for 7 years, haven't done anything.
I have a theory on that.
What is that?
The Republicans in Richmond, for 7 years, did not want to give Barack Obama any credit for the great things he did. And they were adamantly opposed to anything he accomplished. And the ACA is probably his greatest accomplishment.
It's one of the signature accomplishments.
Yes. And what bothers me is when Vice President Pence was governor,
And
he expanded. Mike Kasich expanded it.
Sure. In Ohio.
Other Republican governors
if you remember,
did it.
it came from Massachusetts.
Mitt Romney,
Mitt Romney,
who ran away with it like a scolded dog because he was running for president.
That's exactly right.
But he was right way back when he was governor.
That's exactly
he was
right.
wrong when he was a Republican candidate for president.
What's the second one you talked about it?
Second was public education.
Education.
And I believe that we need to improve the system in place for K through 12 to give more support to our teachers, to give teachers the ability not to teach to a test, but teach students. And what we are doing is relying too much on tests. And the thing that bothers me most about the way we treat our teachers is this. We give them too much to do, and we don't give them the resources to do it, and also we don't give them enough respect. I want to change all that.
I would say the last thing, that we also do not give them enough money to live their life comfortably.
Correct. And what breaks my heart is I read articles right before Labor Day. Well, you will see a teacher going to Target or Staples to buy paper, to buy pencils, to buy erasers for the kids whom they are teaching. That's a disgrace. That should never say.
To this nation.
Yeah. And the other thing I would like to see is universal kindergarten in Virginia. The rural counties in Virginia, and even in Loudoun County, where only 80% of the kids go to kindergarten, we have to have universal kindergarten, because we can't let those children at an early age fall further and further behind, so that we have a category of the haves and the haves not.
Right. And the third?
The third is criminal justice reform.
Right. Well,
In the last 15 years, I led the largest federal and state investigation in United States history addressing the opioid epidemic, which is destroying the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's actually destroying many other states. And what I firmly believe is this. In working with families whose children died from overdoses, families whose children had addicts, I've learned this. Addiction is a disease, and mass incarceration is not the cure. What we need to do is provide more mental health facilities to help individuals get over the addiction rather than building more prisons. The other thing we need to do is, if you get out of prison, that reentry process can be very difficult if you're an addict.
But you want them to be productive citizens of this nation.
Yes, because if an individual beats their addiction, they are less prone to fall off that cliff and recidivism, relapse. And if we give them the tools to address and control their addiction, they will be taxpayers, they will be business owners, they will be good mothers and fathers, and productive members of society.
So the questions on the education, obviously.
I did want to add something on.
One more, please do so.
Voter restoration rights.
What about the voter suppression?
Voter suppression. I think I want to make it easier for people to vote, not harder.
I agree with that.
Should we just let an individual come to a voting booth and say, hey, I'm Gene Rossi, I want to vote? No.
Well, in some cases, they don't even have a voting. For example, in the South Carolina, if you remember that, during the Clinton, when the Clinton was running against the, people could not vote by mail in South Carolina.
Well, I think we should make it easier for voting, not harder.
Yes.
Is there a tiny bit of fraud in voting? Of course, but there's not 2.8 million people illegally voting like Donald Trump said, because that's the margin that Hillary beat him by.
So obviously, as you know, Gene,
Yeah.
obviously you're talking about a person, according to the media, that he's a bully and he lies and he believes in fake news and so on and so forth. He likes to insult others and doesn't want to be insulted. So my question to you, I will get back to his administration and what he's doing and how you're going to run against him, against the Republican candidate also. What the values do you bring? In education is also not very affordable. That's number one problem.
Right.
Number two is we still have a very large, I would say close to 20-30% of the students drop out in the high school.
Yes.
They are the hope for tomorrow, these children are.
Yes.
And how are we going to help them to make sure that the education is key ingredient for success? Education is a powerful equalizer for getting out of the poverty.
Right.
It empowers the mind, uplifts the soul.
I have a personal story to tell on this. I send all my children, my wife Diane and I have sent all our kids to T.C. Williams High School. It is the largest 9 through 12 high school in Virginia.
It's a public school.
It's a public school. There are 3,500 kids in that school from over 100 countries. Every religion, every color you can imagine. And this is what breaks my heart. You mentioned kids that drop out. If I become lieutenant governor, one of the things I'm going to be talking about is this, because here's the problem. We have at-risk students in junior high and in high school who have unstable homes. They don't have guidance at homes.
Single-family home also?
Single-family homes.
Mother on the welfare? It breaks your heart.
Well, it breaks my heart because I was an at-risk kid when I was growing up.
Correct.
I almost flunked out of high school, and I'm now teaching trial advocacy at Harvard Law School. I believe in second chances, and I've coached these young kids who have unstable homes. We need to do more to address the at-risk students in the junior high phase and in the high school, because here's what's going to happen. They will drop out, or if they stay in school, they're going to have horrible grades like I did, and they are going to end up in that criminal justice pipeline, and we're going to be paying, rather than trying to get them an education so they can get maybe, advanced degrees, but also non-traditional jobs, apprenticeships, things like that.
Yeah, they can go to community college, learn
Yes.
something in 2 years, get a graduation,
Absolutely.
to learn these tools and technology to become a part of the 21st century workforce.
Yes,
So do you believe in all those things?
110%.
110%.
Maybe 105.
105%. Let me talk about a little bit about the three items, so the Muslim bans and why he chose those countries, and they are not part of they have never did anything, those citizens of those nations, 7 nations that he's talking about, have been done anything to harm our security. That's number one. Number two is the immigrations.
Yes.
Obviously, you don't want to build a wall, which is what the media is saying, what he's saying, building a wall of hatred and bigotry. And number three is the fact that the environment, what President Obama did, what all the things to make sure we have clean air, to make sure we can breathe, to make sure we can live our life rather than going back to 1930s. And they're all, and then the pipeline is another problem in terms of and there is a Dominion Powers proposal also. So how do we go about making sure we understand that this is not good for America, this is not good for job and economy, this is not who we are, and these are not the values that bind us together? How do you go about talking about it to make sure that we can have America that is fair for all, and that everybody we can provide the opportunity, and they succeed, all of us succeed?
Here's what I believe. I believe that we should allow individuals to come into our country who want to live the American dream. Should we just open the door and let everybody in? No. We
Well,
have to have.
we have to secure our border.
Everybody agrees with that.
Yes.
But what we can't do is give a message to the whole world that we are callous, we are bigoted, we are prejudiced. And that Muslim ban is all that. It's bigoted, it's prejudiced, it's
wrong, it's shameful, it's unconstitutional. A lot of people say that.
But here's the thing, Frank. Even if it were unconstitutional, and I'll leave this interview to go teach constitutional law at George Mason University.
Okay.
Even if it were constitutional, it's wrong policy. It's personal to me. All 4 of my grandparents came from Italy through Ellis Island in the early 1900s.
So the Statue of Liberty welcome all of us to this nation. And that light is dimmed.
If it's on. But when my grandparents, the sad thing is they passed away before I was born. But I can just visualize in my head that they came over here and they saw the Statue of Liberty. They got off at Ellis Island. And I got to tell you, if Donald Trump were president when they came in, I'm not sure they would be admitted. But the Muslim ban is also personal to me because when I was a prosecutor for 27 years.
And there are 1.4 billion Muslims all over the world.
Yes. And we're treating them like they're pariahs. And we can't do that. We're sending a bad message.
But the people, the television, everybody else, even the prosecutor talking about it when they went to court, and Commonwealth of Virginia went to the court against it, which
yes.
is good. They said that it's not about protecting the homeland. It's about protecting Mr. Trump's own personal asset because he has a personal interest in some of the Gulf countries that has been a breeding ground for violence and terrorism, and that is not part of the ban. Do you subscribe to that?
That he's protecting some of his interest?
Yeah, his own personal interest.
Well, guess what? You know who should be filing and publicly revealing his tax returns?
Well, he never...
It's the President of the United States. You know, I know why? Because there's probably interests that he has all over the world,
including
Russia, that greatly affect the decisions. He is a walking conflict of interest. He's the only president, beginning with Richard Nixon, we revealed tax returns. He's the only president after Richard Nixon that has not revealed his tax returns. He should do that. But going back to the ban, I do want to add one other thing. It goes back to my days as a prosecutor. There's a program called 287G. It's a program where the federal government signs a contract with local sheriffs to help document undocumenteds. And what Donald Trump has done, he's issued an executive order about 10 days ago that essentially, through a backdoor channel, is trying to set up a deportation force, in my view, trying to utilize local sheriffs to do what the federal government should do. I'm opposed to that executive order. We shouldn't be rounding up individuals outside churches, outside mosques, outside schools, outside community centers.
It's about fear, anger, and anxiety.
Yes.
It's about not the hope, aspirations, or dream that's what America has stood for centuries. Correct?
Yes.
It's a shining city upon a hill, as President Ronald Reagan called America. Mm-hmm. As John Winthrop said in 1632, the same thing. My question to you, to get back to this, so you have a lot of things to talk about it against
I have
Trump,
a tremendous amount.
But you want to make sure that you will have a Republican opponent, so they are a partner in this crime, correct? They're part of this.
They're colluding.
They're accomplice, right? They're accomplice.
Yes.
So
I dealt against a lot of accomplices.
Exactly.
I prosecuted a lot.
Exactly. My question to you is, a question to the audience to you is what's the message do you have for the audience that you want to be the best Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia? You're here to serve the people and serve your nation and serve the country, serve the Commonwealth of Virginia. And how do the people get hold of you if they want to get engaged with your campaign?
Okay. In conclusion, I'm Gene Rossi. I have a passion for protecting people, and I am a fighter. And as I said in the beginning, that fight in part came from my 27 years as an assistant United States attorney and federal prosecutor, where I stood in court before judges and juries and gave voice to those who could not speak. Victims, the ignored, afraid, and forgotten. And I want to take the position of Lieutenant Governor and use it as a bully pulpit to speak for hundreds of thousands of individuals. the 400,000 who don't have health insurance, the at-risk kids in public schools, universal pre-K. I want to do what we haven't been doing as much in the state of Virginia. And the last thing I want to say is, as your lieutenant governor, I will fight on all those issues I talked about: healthcare, education, criminal justice reform, because many of those issues are personal to me, especially healthcare. Because if I did not have good health insurance, I would not be alive and I would not be speaking to you. If you want to join my team, if you want to join my army of supporters, just go to GeneRossi.com, GeneRossi.com, and I will be honored if you consider me for Lieutenant Governor. Thank you so much.
So my last question is, the Republicans are going to run against the Planned Parenthood. They're going to run against what about the abortions? What's your thoughts on those 2 points before we?
I support Planned Parenthood. My only complaint about Planned Parenthood is they've let the Republicans control the debate. Planned Parenthood does incredibly remarkable things. 99% of what they do.
Women should have a right to do whatever they like to. We have no right to tell them what to do.
Of course. Let me tell you something. If men could become pregnant, last I looked, they can't. I don't think we would allow the other gender to tell us what to do.
What about the abortion?
I'm sorry, what?
Abortion.
I believe in pro-choice. I'm pro-choice.
You're pro-choice.
Yes, strong pro-choice.
But you do not want to leave the woman to make that choice.
I think the decision whether to exercise your choice should be made by the mother, family, and any religious individual. That is a very, very personal decision.
It's a personal thing, just like religion is personal.
And it's a libertarian thing.
Okay.
And the Republicans that call themselves libertarian, they're trying to take one of the most basic rights.
Fundamental right of the human being.
Correct.
Thank you very much, Gene.
Hey, thank you.
And good luck to you.
That went by fast.
Yeah, good luck to you. And good luck to you as you